In almost 15 years in Barcelona, I've pretty much done it all. I've also made my fair share of mistakes, and I've also learned that it's not always what you do, but what you don't do that can make and break your trip. So in this video, we're talking the 7 don'ts of Barcelona to help you better enjoy your time here. Don't come in August. One of the biggest questions about Barcelona is when is the best time to come and visit the city? Now, if you want to get outside of that high season, coming between November and March might be a good idea. But if you're looking for a little bit better weather, then you've got April and May, or September and October, which is always going to be a great time. But there's so much going on in Barcelona throughout the entire year that really it depends on what you want to do. The one thing that I would recommend is not to come in August. And really, there's 2 reasons why. And the first is the heat. August is the hottest month of the year here in Barcelona, but more than the heat, you've got that humidity, which is just non-stop. Normally when I talk about the different months in Barcelona, I talk about the fluctuating temperatures. You've got those early mornings and into those evenings, which despite the warmer days, always tend to be a little bit cooler. In August, that never seems to actually happen. You've just got that really humid air all around, kind of gives that film of sweat on you all day. So if you're walking around trying to see everything, when you get home, the only thing that you want to do is shower. Plus all the different people that are around, August is the time when the most amount of people are coming in. It just gets warmer and warmer. Yes, we do have a little bit of an escape out to that beach, but August being the hottest month, it's probably not the best time to come. Apart from the heat, it's also the time with the most closures. So you might miss out on some of the best things in Barcelona. August, especially the second half of the month, is a time when most people and the locals are actually going on vacation. So you're not going to find many of them here, which means a lot of shops and a lot of the best restaurants will close down. So one of the worst things would be to do all of that research, find these places that you want to go, and then get here and find that they're not going to be open until September. Now, I understand that August might also be the most convenient time to travel for you. So if you're not going to follow my advice and avoid August altogether, definitely block out those last 2 weeks. You'll avoid the hottest part of the year and all the closures. But now that you know when you're coming, how about a quick language lesson to help you out while you're here? Don't call Catalan a dialect. Many people, when they're coming over to Spain, want to learn a few Spanish phrases to have with them in their back pocket so they can use them while they're here. But not many understand how widely used the Catalan language is here in Barcelona. I know I didn't when I first moved here. Apart from Spanish, Spain actually has 3 different co-official languages. That's Catalan, Basque, and Galician. And Catalan is the most widely spoken. You've got about 8 million residents in Catalonia alone, but you've got over 10 million Catalan speakers. That's because you've got places like Aragon, Valencia, the Balearic Islands, and even parts of southern France that speak Catalan or their dialect. You've also got Andorra, the only country in the world that has Catalan as its official language. And there's still a part of Italy on the island of Sardinia called Alghero that still speaks its dialect of Catalan. So while you're learning those Spanish phrases ahead of that next trip, you might want to jot some Catalan ones down as well. And while you're making the switch from Buenos Dias to Bon Dia, there's one big thing that you need to know about the name of the city before you get here. Don't refer to the city as Barca. I actually covered this in a video about the 10 things to know before coming to Barcelona and posted a reel about it on Instagram that caused quite a stir. Now, we're not going to get into the differences in pronunciation between Catalan and Spanish right now. What I'm talking about is when people refer to the entire city of Barcelona as Barça. The city of Barcelona has a lot of different nicknames, but if you want to abbreviate it, what you're actually going to find, especially when you're driving into the city on the road because Barcelona doesn't fit in the lanes, is you're going to find Barna. The problem comes because the city name and its most famous club are both Barcelona. But when you abbreviate the football club, what you use is Barça. And a lot of people take that and use it for the city, when it's actually Barna. If you use Barça or Barna correctly, it's a pretty clear distinction. Because in English, we don't distinguish between the city and the club the same way they do in Catalan or Spanish. And it's all because of a tricky little pronoun. Let me explain. All right, so in English, if I wanted to know if you were from the city of Barcelona, I would ask, are you from Barcelona? And if I wanted to know if you were a fan of the football club, I would ask, are you a fan of Barcelona? 2 completely different questions, and you get the meaning right away. But in Spanish, almost that same question, just a little bit of a change, will give you 2 completely different meanings. So in Spanish, if I wanted to ask if you were from the city of Barcelona, the question would be, ¿Eres de Barcelona? And if I wanted to ask if you were a fan of the football club, the question would be, ¿Eres del Barcelona or Barça? You can see there's a big difference right there with just a small change to that question. The same is actually going to happen in Catalan. Ets de Barcelona or ets del Barcelona. A little difference goes a long way. Grammar lessons aside, what are some of the big don'ts when it comes to food? Don't order a paella for dinner. Now this one's a little bit more nitpicky, and if you're on vacation, realistically, do whatever you want. But one of the big things that everybody wants to do when they come to Barcelona is try out a paella. And if you want to travel like you lived here, then don't order a paella for dinner. You won't find the locals doing it. Paella tends to be much more of a lunchtime meal, predominantly one you're gonna find on the weekends. I always kind of think of it as one of those Sunday barbecue type events. Now remember, one of the biggest things you're gonna find in the differences in eating over here is you're not gonna find those big carb-based dishes served at dinner time. No big pasta bowls, definitely no paellas or any of those other rice-based dishes. Remember that dinner is much later, tends to be lighter, and that lunch is the big meal of the day. Speaking of which, don't only eat tapas. You'll find them on almost every restaurant menu, and yes, you should try them out. But you don't have to eat them for every meal. You've got plenty of other options for a great and authentic eating experience. One of the best options that you'll have for lunch is the menú del día, the menu of the day. This is a 3-course meal with bread and a drink included. You'll have plenty of options for a starter, an entree, and that dessert. And a lot of times it'll be much cheaper than had you order all these different tapas and not really known what the sizes were. And one of the biggest tricks that you'll need to know if you're gonna go with a menú del día while you're here is that on Thursdays, it tends to be paella day, which means for your first course, you can get a paella for a much cheaper price than going to any other restaurant. Knowing what to eat is important, but also what to do. Not only for the major sites, but some of the lesser ones as well. Don't show up to the Sagrada Familia without tickets. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, and this is still one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you if you're visiting Barcelona. Buy tickets in advance, especially for sites like the Sagrada Familia. This is the most visited monument in all of Barcelona, and depending on the year, all of Spain. If there's one thing to plan ahead for, it's the Sagrada Familia. In the summer, that might mean getting tickets 2 or more weeks in advance. In the low season, while you do have some more leeway, that might mean getting tickets maybe 2 days ahead of time so you can make sure you get the right time that works for you. And remember, you cannot buy tickets at the door. So if you show up looking to purchase those entrances at the Sagrada Familia, they're just gonna send you over to the website where you could have gone online and booked beforehand. And if you're looking to get those tickets in the moment, you might not have any tickets available. So I'm just gonna say it one more time. Book your tickets in advance, but don't only see the Sagrada Familia. There's another lesser known modernist building that's really worth your time. Don't skip the Hospital de Sant Pau. Yes, the Sagrada Familia is the most talked about and popular building. And yes, you need to visit it while you're here. But we spend so much time talking about Gaudí that we miss out on another famous modernist architect in the city, Lluís Domènech i Muntaner. And his Hospital de Sant Pau is just up the street from the Sagrada Familia and a true gem in Barcelona. In terms of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Barcelona, the works of Gaudí are all classified. But so too are the Hospital de Sant Pau and the Palau de la Música Catalana, both works by Lluís Domènech i Muntaner. And both the hospital and the music palace are gonna offer you impressive examples of exposed brick, beautiful mosaics, stunning stained glass, and it'll definitely leave you surprised. So make sure to plan a visit to the Hospital de Sant Pau while you're here in Barcelona, and not just as a time filler while you're waiting for your entrances to the Sagrada Familia. But while not getting over to the Hospital de Sant Pau might be something easy to overlook, there are a bunch of other mistakes that tourists keep making while they're here in Barcelona. So watch this video next and you won't make them while you're here.